State. Fox World Travel's Rose Gray telling Wisconsin's Afternoon News.
We know things are going to change. This isn't going to be something that's going to stay this way for a long time. But if you look at a map and you see what we call the ABC Islands, which are Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao, they're right off the coast of Venezuela. So that would be something I might reconsider if I had something booked.
Venezuela currently labeled as do not travel by the U.S. State Department. Arizona Senator and retired Navy Captain Mark Kelly firing back after Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth issued him a formal letter of censure.
Hegseth wants to demote Kelly and cut his retirement pay after he recorded a video with other Democrats calling on service members deployed to American cities to refuse illegal orders.
It's nonsense.
Kelly told CBS Mornings,
"This administration doesn't like what I say. Now they're talking about demoting me. That was after the president said I should be hanged for something I said."
Kelly says it's hypocritical because in 2016, Hegseth said the military would not follow potential illegal orders from then presidential candidate Donald Trump. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
On this 5th anniversary of the January 6th riot, a plaque that honors the police officers who battled the mob and restored order on that day still has not been posted.
A law passed in 2022 requires the posting of a plaque on the west front of the Capitol facing the National Mall, listing the names of each of the law enforcement officers who responded to the riot. The law called for that plaque's posting within a year. Nearly 4 years later, it's still not up. A lawsuit was filed last summer by 2 police officers aiming to force the architect of the Capitol to install the plaque. The Trump administration is now seeking its dismissal, saying the 2 officers don't have standing to sue.
That's ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management market update. Green across the board. The Dow up 145 points at 49,122. The Nasdaq up 25 at 23,420. And the S&P 500 is up as well, about 12 points at 6,914. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:04.
Recently, a seller that unfortunately ended up choosing another agent called me. She said she made a mistake, and what she was expressing to me sounded like she kind of was bullied into signing with him. Is it typical? Not always, but it will never happen when you hire a Century 21 Benefit Realty agent. I want our agents to be able to look in the mirror and say, I'd want to work with me. Not because they're good at saying what you want to hear or offer the lowest commission, but because of trust. Because if you're not feeling that from your agent, that's a problem. And I don't want that. At 1.9% on the listing side of your sale with our commission capped at $19,000, Century 21 Benefit Realty leads with a very fair and transparent commission structure with maximum marketing that can get your home sold fast and for the best price. And saving money matters, but working with someone who'll tell you exactly what you need to know up front, that creates trust. And that matters too. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Why settle for just a job when you can have a career in the exciting automobile industry? The Auto Dealers Association of Mega Milwaukee new car dealer members have service technicians, sales, administrative, and management positions available now. The first word in career is car, and one of the best places to find a great career opportunity is at an Adam member new car dealer.
For current great-paying job opportunities, visit adam.com/jobs. That's ADAMM.com/jobs.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all sports desk. The playoffs present a fresh start for the Green Bay Packers after closing out the regular season with 4 straight losses.
I think our guys are excited. They're excited for the challenge. They're excited for the opportunity, and that's how we're going to attack it, and that's our mindset. Because right now, when you get to the postseason, everybody's 0-0. It's a clean slate, so we have an opportunity, and that's all you can ask for.
Packers are the number 7 seed in the NFC. They'll be heading to Chicago Saturday night to take on the Bears in the wild card. Men's college hoops, a big second-half comeback, falling short for UW Milwaukee. The Panthers losing to Green Bay 79-76. Wisconsin in action tonight, looking for their second win in Big Ten play as they'll be hosting UCLA. That's an 8 o'clock tip at the Kohl Center. Badger Sports Updates, sponsored by Siding Unlimited, siding and a whole lot more. Let's take a look at the roads. Your WTMJ time saver traffic. A little bit of an issue 894 eastbound as you get onto the ramp there from 76th Street. There is a crash, so it is causing some backups into the Hale interchange. A few other disabled vehicles across the system. A little bit of wet conditions out there, so causing some slick spots, but everything else moving along nicely. Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Rain showers will continue throughout the day with cloudy conditions, a high getting up around 40 degrees. We'll start to see the rain taper off tonight. Some patchy fog possible, low down to 29. Sunny and mild for Wednesday, a high around 41. Cloudy, we could see some rain on Thursday, still mild, highs in the mid-40s. And then Friday, still some rain chances with cloudy conditions and a high near 40. Right now, 35 degrees in Madison, it's 38 in Kenosha, and 37 degrees in Milwaukee. I'm Neil Doyle, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:07.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
And today that's actually true because it is Tuesday and I am back.
It's your first show of 2026.
It is good to be back. I missed the conversation. You know, I tried as I was spending hours and hours and hours at the blackjack tables, and first two days good, and Sunday not so good. I had a brutal day Sunday, but it was a fun trip. But you have all these side conversations, and you know, the Venezuela thing was obviously something.
Say, what news seeped through to you?
That was the big one.
Yeah, I imagine.
I forgot what I was doing. I was up because old man hours. I was up insanely early, and then you're wandering the casino, and there's nobody in it, and just weird, vibes. People that had stayed up the previous night, like, how are you doing? They're all drunk, and I'm completely sober. But managing all that, the one topic that didn't come up, which we're going to talk about a little bit at the beginning of the show, is the anniversary of January 6th.
Does that surprise you?
Well, I guess yes and no. I think it's an important moment in our country's history, but
do you think that's like a topic of conversation at a blackjack table?
Oh, you talk about everything. Oh my God! Because once they find out what I do, which you always find out. Here's the routine. How you doing? How's it going? How's the table? Where are you from? What do you do? And then that whole thing, and then I make new friends, and then because I spend hours sitting at the same seats generally, and we start talking about politics. Some people are engaging. Some you can tell the ones that aren't because it quickly de-escalates really fast. They stop talking because of the nature of politics now. It's like if you're not someone who enjoys any of what's happening in the country, you pretty much don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But Venezuela was interesting because we were essentially going to war. But January 6th was not something.
It was a legal action. It was not a military action.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that in the next segment. But yeah, there's a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on there.
And then
not a lot of clarity.
No.
But a lot.
And hey, maybe the next battlefront will be Greenland, which is miles and miles away from Venezuela. So maybe the two-front war.
But in the same hemisphere.
Yeah, sort of. Anyway, so I bring this up because I want to revisit January 6th, which is a brutal day in our country's history where a group of men and women decided they were going to try to take over the Capitol and sort of circumvent the election process and stop the vote or whatever stop the count. But it is interesting 5 years later that some of my Republican friends refuse to even acknowledge that they exist. It's like, what are you doing? Like, why
what do
would
they
you
say when you ask them about them?
They don't care about it.
They're just like, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I don't care. No big deal. Yeah.
Did they flip-flop? Did they think it was a big deal? And then
everybody thought it was a big deal on January 6th. I could literally sit here, and if I was a mean or a vindictive person, I would literally play every Republican leader, I don't care who it is,
Ted Cruz,
one after another, condemning the action. Yeah. And now they pretend it doesn't exist.
Gallagher, Banana Republic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the famous one. He called in CNN live. Yeah, yeah. It's insane to me that this is somehow 5 years later a thing we don't talk about. But I want to spend at least a few minutes talking about it because this is one of those things that is dangerous in a lot of different ways. One, an insurrection, a riot, men and women who were killed in some cases from the impact of those people rioting. Certainly, one of the rioters was killed by security inside the Capitol building. And none of this needed to happen if we had a president who would have stood up and said, I lost the election. But we didn't have that, which led to silliness like the Gableman investigation, spending millions of dollars, which apparently are still being spent, trying to pay some of these bills from people still submitting claims on this stuff related to the Gableman investigation. It's absolutely insane that we can't, as reasonable, rational adults, understand there was a stain on our country's history. It's not something you should forget because, as you know, and as we always say, and everybody always says, if you want, you want a definition of insanity, repeat the same thing over and over again without any change, right?
Well, and the other part of this is, so there was the House Judiciary Committee yesterday released two new reports that are examining the aftermath of the attack during this last year of President Trump's first year of his second term. So we know one of his first actions was to pardon all, not just the ones who were like, well, they weren't violent or whatever, but like he pardoned all of them. And in one of the new reports, at least 33 pardoned insurrectionists have faced other criminal charges since they were pardoned, which includes child sex crimes, sexual assault, possession of child pornography, illegal possession of weapons, domestic violence, rape, driving under the influence. In 4 cases, insurrectionists allegedly reoffended after receiving their pardons from Trump. And the thing about when you get pardoned is that there's no traditional monitoring or parole process. And so for any of these people who had been, previously violent in like a domestic situation, they could just show up at people's houses, like their ex's houses and stuff. And so for the people who are very opinionated about habitual offenders, I would have hoped that you were also upset about this and that people who just got a free pass after they were violent were free to go be violent again.
It's horrific. And you're exactly right. All the overview, the sort of the monitoring of these individuals who are, look, you can say there's one of the arguments is that they are just tourists or upset, visiting the Capitol who just got caught up in it.
There were a lot of people there, right? You see those numbers, and there was a lot of people there. And I do what you thought was going to happen. As someone who was at the Women's March in 2017 when there was 500 or 600,000 people in D.C., it was very different. But I do know what it's like to be there with hundreds of thousands of people in there and have no idea, if you were at a very different spot than where the Capitol was, have no idea what was going on at the Capitol. So I do want to give that. But but the people who entered the Capitol like through broken windows, is that normal behavior?
No. Once you enter the Capitol, once you pick up a piece of whatever and start whacking windows, whacking people, going after law enforcement, your tourist argument ends. And this was a riot at the U.S. Capitol. And we can pretend that it's something else. We can, we can pretend that, not talking about it makes it go away. It doesn't. It's 5 years. It matters. And I don't forget it. And I think if you do forget it because of political convenience, I really can't take you seriously on anything else because it happened. You don't have to like the history. You don't have to like what it says about our party or your party. But it's a fact that it happened in our nation's capital. It was the ugliest of situations. And you know how I know I'm right? Because, again, every leader of the Republican Party, minus one, who's the current president, said it was bad. You could go look it up if you want. And you mentioned one name, Ted Cruz. I don't care who you pick. They're all going to say it's bad. And they didn't have the stone.
Well, Kevin McCarthy didn't.
Yeah. They didn't have the stones to do something about it.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. So we don't forget. I don't forget. And if you don't like it, I always get these texts. Well, I'm paraphrasing, but do you feel bad about not, doing a write-in vote? How does that matter in the context of this conversation? And we need to stop worrying about individuals and how they vote. I know that I talk about me because I do a show. But what I do in my moment with my ballot is up to me, as is yours. And I never tell you how to vote, ever. And I never have on any of my shows. It's your right to vote the way you want to. So stop telling me how I have to vote. There's no such thing as a wasted vote. I showed up. If you want to talk about a wasted vote, talk about what percentage of people that didn't even bother. In an election in 2024, what is it, 35%?
Yes. It was basically a third, and a third.
Yeah. What about those people?
Well, they don't have a show, so they can't be held at.
Well, I got a show, and you got a show.
All right. Moving on?
Yes.
Let's move on. I want to hear what your immediate reaction was when you heard the news about Venezuela, because it was middle of the night. It sounds like you were maybe awake when it happened.
Mm-hmm. In the room where it happened, not really.
Not really. I would hope not. All right. We'll be back in a minute.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guests, Mishap Solutions and Redo Cabinets. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Hey, this is WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi for Advent. Snoring issues, tossing and turning, restless nights of sleep. You don't have to put up with that. I stopped having those issues 6 years ago. Went to Advent, heard about it on the radio, said, check it out. I was a snorer, bad snorer, kept my poor wife Kathy up at night, nothing to laugh about. So what am I laughing? Because I did something about it. You can go to Advent today. You can call them today. Go on their website and find out what your problem is. They'll add probably a little simple sleep study to see what your troubles are. But after a short procedure 6 years ago, I haven't had those issues again. I don't snore anymore. And if you struggle like I used to, what are you waiting for? Take the time now to see how Advent can help you. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better, go to AdventKnows.com, schedule an appointment today. Because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
All different types of injury lawyers advertise. Cartoon lawyers, bobblehead lawyers, and folks chasing ambulances with text messages. Our clients don't want or need such lawyers. Our clients know, like, and trust that Pasternak and Zergabel will help in their time of need. I'm Jeff Zergabel of Pasternak and Zergabel. Frank Pasternak and I are excellent personal injury lawyers in our community. If you need help after an injury, go to Pasternak and Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com. That's injurywisconsin.com.
It is Tuesday. It is the 6th of January, as we said. And I got a lot of texts on the January 6th anniversary. We're talking about it because it matters. And if you don't like that, well, wake the hell up.
Well, it's also because it's the anniversary. It's not like we picked this out of thin air just to talk about today.
No, but unlike some conservative, and I don't call myself a conservative anymore, Republican talkers, I don't pretend it didn't happen or doesn't exist because that seems rather silly to me. But anyway, so I wake up. It would have been about 5:30 Vegas time, so 7:30 our
Wait,
time.
is Vegas Mountain or...
It's Pacific.
Pacific, okay.
2 hours,
So you're 2 hours behind.
So I flip on the TV in the room, because we had 2 rooms, and there was a place I could watch TV and not wake my poor wife Kathy up. And it was all Venezuela, so it had just happened during the course of the night. And you asked me what my initial reaction was, like, wow, I didn't see that coming. And we know that Maduro was a bad guy, a bad dude. Nobody's going to cry tears for this guy or his, the way he did business, because he was essentially courting some of our worst enemies in the world. And you were sharing me something this morning that continues with his replacement, apparently, because this is a story that is, and maybe people get bored when I say this. It speaks to the superficiality of this administration. You could go yank somebody out. We have the firepower to do it. We're still probably the top military in the world. But then what happens next? And I'm watching monitors right now. There's gunshots in Caracas, anti-aircraft tracer fire. We don't know sort of what on the ground what's happening. But the president went on. It would have been
Saturday morning.
Yeah, Saturday morning. Yeah, so he went on, and I watched it live when he did it, and he was late. He was about a half hour late for some reason, probably hair and makeup. It is something that's. He acted like we were going to run. He's basically said we're going to run the country. I don't want to be naive, but that's much easier said than done. And we know that already, unless you're prepared to put, as he said, boots on the ground, as Hegseth said, boots on the ground, how are you going to administer a country that's miles away from you, that we don't have really a huge involvement in physically, right?
I was listening. That was a very big difference. That was a huge difference, I guess, because it keeps getting compared to 1989 Panama, right? Yeah. But at the time, I'm now learning this week. Panama's a much smaller country, and we already had military bases in Panama, and so our ability to maneuver inside that operation is very different than having zero presence in a much bigger, both like land-wise and population-wise, of Venezuela. And so this is a different, same general, I guess it's not Panama's further north. So,
Yes.
I mean, but same general vicinity.
Yeah.
But, so it's interesting, but it's also interesting because as Delcy, who's now was the vice president and now she is the president, what I guess it's not a regime change. And so I guess maybe the assumption is she will be friendlier?
Well, I don't think that's going to be true. I don't see signs of that. I guess would the other assumption be that the people of Venezuela are going to rise up and make this a democratic country? I don't know. That's a hard proposition for folks. How many times does that happen? Not very often. And if that's your hope, well, hopes are nice, but ultimately, was this a play by the president to sort of defend the oil industry? Because we know the story of Venezuela, right? We invested billions of dollars. They basically took that out. That's why we're chasing their tankers now, because the president and the administration say that's our oil. So that's the sort of the economic argument. Okay, but then how are you going to do this? And I've seen no evidence, and I don't know what it's a cliched term, the end game is. So your hope is a democratically run country.
He didn't talk a lot about
no, that's me saying
preserving democracy.
Yeah, so I don't know unless you're committing U.S. troops, which, again, they're going to have to come in, it's not an easy play. And Venezuela is a big country and a rich country. So I don't know. It's that weird argument where you have the action is good, right? Maduro's gone or in U.S. custody. But, again, what happens next? And if that's worse, what did you gain other than making,
I guess
big story?
this is one of the points I was going to make yesterday while you were gone, but I ended up not having time. But I guess in trying to play out best case scenario, worst case scenario, and I guess best case for whom, worst case for whom, it is not clear to me what the best case scenario is beyond some utopia where Venezuelans are free and like there are so many people who have left feel like they can go back and there is opportunity. I guess that we have a stronger relationship with, we as America the U.S. has a stronger relationship with them while not deploying troops.
I guess.
There? Like, is that the outcome we're looking for? And then having like China and Russia get out?
Yeah, I guess. But here's the other thing. The opposition leader, Machado. Trump doesn't like her because she got the Nobel Peace Prize.
No, well, I was listening to the Daily this morning, the New York Times Daily podcast. It sounds like it was more complicated than that.
Really?
Yeah.
You're saying the president is complicated?
Well, it sounds like she is a purist in her, you do not negotiate. She didn't want to negotiate with Maduro. She wanted all or nothing. And so as we sent people down there to negotiate, especially as trying to get like Americans out of Venezuelan prisons, it sounded like her ability to maneuver was not as strong as they needed it to be. So it sounds like there's more than just her not denying. Because I said that yesterday too, because Washington Post was saying that was the reason why. It's at least in the reporting that was happening today from the New York Times, it's a little bit more complicated than that.
Yeah, again, the difference in reporting between the Washington Post and the New York Times is significant as well. There's lots of different ways you can look at these stories. For me, it's not a simple answer to try to take over a country. And do you not take the president at his word that we're going to run Venezuela? So what does that mean exactly? There's been no...
But then Marco Rubio kind of like walked that back.
I was intrigued by the press conference because as a president speaking, you see Rubio in the back and Hegseth in the back, and they're like, they weren't rolling their eyes, but you could tell at point. That's me saying this. Like, what is he saying? What's he talking about? Because he just goes off on these tangents, and that's why some people love him. He riffs and he struts. If there ever was a strutter as president, it's Donald Trump. I don't know what the answer is here, but I do think, for me personally, this is about oil and money. And the president wants to get in the good graces of the big oil companies in the United States and those who are invested heavily in Venezuela. And whether that works or not, we'll see. Quick break. Point taken.
Whoa, hey, what are these?
Dude, Screamin' Sicilian loaded breadsticks. They are available in cheesy garlic or pepperoni. They're seriously not messing around. These bad boys bake right in their own tray and come fully loaded.
Okay, these are insane. Hey, is this dinner?
Nope, just the warm-up. Find Screamin' Sicilian loaded breadsticks in your local grocer's freezer section. Screamin' Sicilian loaded breadsticks. Fully loaded, bring the flavor.
Looking to build or remodel? Then check out the 2026 Metro Builders Association Home Building and Remodeling Show, presented by Nuns January 9th through 11th at State Fair Park. Learn about the latest home building and remodeling trends from over 150 MBA industry experts. And be sure to check out the all-new Builder Boulevard. If building or remodeling is on your 2026 to-do list, then don't miss the NBA Home Building and Remodeling Show this weekend at State Fair Park. For more information and tickets, visit NBAHomeshow.com.
January. I know. Not the greatest always, right? WTMJ's John Mercure here. If you've got the January blues, brighten up your Monday and Tuesday with a free dinner at the historic Fox and Hound Supper Club, voted the best supper club in the area. Enjoy any steak, seafood, pan-fried walleye, a fresh salad, the steak and lobster, anything on the menu. You got it. Your second dinner is always free. Desserts and those huge ice cream drinks are buy one, get one free. I think it's the best part of the meal. Sip on an old-fashioned. Check out the Manhattan, bourbon, 100 wines, ice-cold beer out of the tap. The Fox and Hounds in the heart of the Kettle Moraine Forest is truly a one-of-a-kind gem. The holiday decorations are still up with thousands of lights, the Christmas characters. It's a must-see, and those 7 wood-burning fireplaces keep you warm on a cold January night. Nice and cozy. Just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of the famous Holy Hill Shrine. The drive is beautiful. Enjoy your free dinner tonight. Reserve at foxandhoundsrestaurant.com.
You've spent a lifetime taking care of others. Now it's your turn to enjoy life your way. At Capri Communities, they offer vibrant senior living where neighbors become friends, and each day brings something to smile about.
Well, it's breakfast with the boys, and then bingo is at 3 in the afternoon. I lost that super lady I lived with for 60 years, but have found a home and doing well. The accommodations, the facilities, it's been a pleasure.
Find your perfect new home at capricommunities.com.
All right, how about this? Actually, they're featured on my Saturday show, WTMJ Outdoors, this weekend. The Milwaukee Boat Show is here January 16th through the 18th, and then the 21st to the 25th. So those big, long weekends. 8 days of boating excellence at the Wisconsin Expo Center at State Fair Park. We're giving away tickets right now. Pick a number between 1 and 10, Kristin.
3.
3. Caller number 3 will be going to the boat show at the Expo Center in State Fair Park. Great place to see a show.
Are you done?
No.
Okay, keep going. Then I got something to say.
And while you're there, register to win a Ho Sports Beacon Kayak. Nothing more popular than kayaking right now. All my friends are doing it. I'm not going to be doing it, but they love it. Courtesy of Skipper Buds, which is a great company all about boats. The Milwaukee Boat Show is back at the Wisconsin State Fair Park inside the Expo Center, the 16th through the 18th, and the 21st, the 25th boat show.
I'm kind of surprised you don't own a boat. You seem like a boat guy.
Here's my theory on that. I'm a guy that doesn't like to spend my own money. I hate when I lose.
You like gambling your own money.
But I don't like to lose. Ask my friends who are.
Well, who likes to lose?
But I mean, I get despondent. 855-616-1620. Caller number 3. I get very despondent. I was miserable on Sunday. It was happy Saturday, miserable Sunday. But anyway.
We're going to talk about prediction markets after this, too, because that goes into the betting.
So the reason I don't have a boat is because all my friends have boats. Why would I buy a boat? Let them do all the maintenance and upkeep.
This is why you have Republican friends. They typically have a boat.
That's exactly right. And I love them for it.
I truly think my friend, as I think about that now, my friends who have boats in the Milwaukee Marina is like, yeah, Republicans.
They're doing the heavy lifting. I'll come on your boat and talk about whatever you want to, but I don't want to fill the gas tank. I don't want to do that. I will chip in for gas, though. All right, Neil Doyle.
Appreciating asset.
Yeah, Neil Doyle coming up. Now here's the latest from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. California Republican House member Doug LaMalfa, a 7-term congressman and a reliable vote for President Trump's agenda, has died at the age of 65. The president at an event today with Republicans saying,
he was the leader of the Western Caucus, a fierce champion on California water issues. He was great on water. He wanted release the water, he'd scream at him. And a true defender of American children. He was a defender of everybody.
The president now eyeing Greenland, it appears. His top advisor, Stephen Miller, saying the U.S. has the right to take the semi-autonomous Danish territory. The Prime Minister of Denmark saying that would effectively be the end of NATO. Uncertainty continues in Venezuela following the U.S.-led operation in Caracas and the arrest of President Nicolas Maduro. Opening statements beginning today in the trial of a former Uvalde, Texas school police officer accused of criminal wrongdoing by not acting fast enough during the 2022 school shooting. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:31. I'm Neil Doyle. A man from Racine will serve 2 years of probation after sending harassing emails to Wisconsin Supreme Court Chief Justice Jill Karofsky. 37-year-old Ryan Thornton was sentenced Monday after pleading guilty to 2 misdemeanor charges. As part of a plea deal, prosecutors dropped a felony stalking charge. Authorities say Thornton sent increasingly threatening emails to Chief Justice Karofsky and the Office of Lawyer Regulation for inactions by his attorney for a case going back to 2019. Thornton eventually fired his attorney and was ultimately convicted of various crimes. A teenager who died after a police chase turned into a crash in Milwaukee over the weekend has been identified. 18-year-old Isaac Zavala was a passenger in the car that crashed into a tree near 37th and Mitchell. The car fled a traffic stop in West Milwaukee. The 19-year-old driver is being treated for serious injuries in the hospital. It's unclear if that teen will be charged. State lawmakers introducing a second bill to regulate data centers across the Badger State. The proposed legislation from a group of Republican lawmakers would make sure energy bills do not increase for residents as new construction happens across the electrical grid. Back in November, Democrats also introducing a bill that would hold data centers accountable for their energy and water use, worker protections, and in their environmental impact. Currently, the only state laws on data centers revolve around tax incentives. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 225 points at 49,200. NASDAQ is sitting up 44 at 23,440. And the S&P 500 also in the green, up about 14 points at 6,916. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Take a look at the roads. Your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. Still some issues. 894 eastbound, right at the ramp from Forest Home. Part of the right lane is blocked there due to a crash. Doesn't look like they've got 1 or 2 emergency crews on the scene, but causing some delays as you go through the Hale interchange there. So also some slowdowns. 94 eastbound. That is in our construction zone. Those backups starting at 76th Street. Some wet road conditions as well, causing a few slick spots across the system. We'll see those rain showers continue as we move through our Tuesday. Cloudy skies, a high getting up around 40 degrees. We'll start to see the rain taper off tonight. Some patchy fog will be possible, low down to 29. Sunny and mild conditions on Wednesday with a high near 41. Cloudy, we could see some rain on Thursday, still mild with highs in the mid-40s, and then still some rain chances moving into Friday with cloudy conditions and a high near 40. Right now, 35 degrees in Sheboygan. It's 39 in Waukesha, and we're sitting at 38 degrees in Milwaukee. I'm Neil Doyle, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 1034.
Hi, this is Michelle Voskel, CPA and team member at the Neil Group. Well, here we are. It is 2026. Remember last year when you said never again? Did it work? You didn't start your business to spend lots of time doing bank reconciliations, cash flow projections, or inventory analysis. Let us help you keep your New Year's resolution to stay on top of your finances and keep your books up to date. Don't do the same thing this year and expect different results. Start the year off on the right foot by calling the Neil Group to help you understand your numbers and make them better. You earned it. We help you keep it. Call 414-325-2040 now to set up a meeting to see how you can make 2026 the best year ever. The first meeting is free. That's 414-325-2040 or visit us at neilgroup.net. That's NEAL group.net.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
There are some things in this world that are both free and priceless at the same time, like your grandma's Christmas cookies or a spectacular sunset. When it comes to home buying, AccuNet's rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval is both free, even though it's more work on our part than a slapdash bank pre-approval. And when it comes to making sure your home buying journey doesn't include any chest-clutching surprises and avoidable mistakes, it's also priceless. Sellers and listing agents recognize AccuNet's rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval as the gold standard of our industry. Not just because of our $2,000 guarantee, but because they know we've done our homework and that you're the real deal, especially if you need a bridge loan to buy that next home. You'll also like that our closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 lower than banks and the mortgage folks with the Rocket for exactly the same rate. Get started with your free, yet priceless, rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval today by clicking on the blue button at accunet.com.
It is Tuesday. It is the 6th of January, 2026. If you're still one of those dinosaurs who write checks, make sure you get that right. Not 2025 anymore, 2026. Officially, Kristin, 50 years since I graduated high school. How about that?
Congratulations. Wait,
50?
not today.
No, not today.
This year.
This year, 50 years. All that says is I'm old. That's what that says. Yeah, old, yeah. Remarkable. I was playing blackjack with some people that were like 25. I'm thinking, 25, man.
You graduated high school 10 years before I was born.
Yeah, is that something? All right, so just quickly back, because I want to get to this Greenland thing, because that's another example of the superficial arguments that usually come out of this administration. Sorry, it's not going to be a pro-Trump show on my side of things today, so if that's what you're looking for, go to one of the talking airheads on one of the other stations, because they'll give you all you need about that, right? There's no depth of analysis. Whatever he does is good. If that's your thing, then, celebrate it and love it. This idea that the texter was suggesting that the president is all pally with Maria Machado is not true. They talked last 7 months ago. He said a couple nice things back then. But he's not a supporter of hers. Matter of fact, he said, direct quote, she doesn't have the support of the respect of her own country. He's not a fan of hers. So don't act like they're buddies and that I'm misstating the relationship. And here's the weird piece that's always present when you talk about this administration. He's still pissed he didn't win the Peace Prize. But here's the thing about Peace Prizes. You generally don't campaign for them. Usually, the Nobel Committee or committees select people based on what their actions and their words
They're not
are.
like the Oscars?
No.
Where there's
millions
of dollars in campaigning
direct opposite.
that goes into it. Not just the best performance.
Yeah. And obviously performance is subjective. But on this one, stop making that argument. I guess let me speak for the administration. What they should be thinking of, if I was in charge, or if I was Pete Hegseth with not as good hair, I would have to say the idea would be you have elections within a few months, and then the Machados of the world, or the current interim president, you said her name before, and I've forgotten it already.
Delcy Rodriguez.
Delcy Rodriguez. One of them wins the election, and that's the future. I would argue that Rodriguez is not going to change much. Right? What does she change? She different than Maduro?
But I'm saying, what I am saying is, it's what is interesting is who's telling the truth, because in the press conference, and I think largely Rubio's comments on the Sunday shows was that they have been in contact with Rodriguez. She decried the capturing of Maduro. I think there's reports now that there is like bounty hunters going after people who celebrated his capture within Venezuela. And so as far as the working relationship that is expected and what is like political theater versus what is actually negotiated deals, I think is also unclear. Because if there is a negotiated deal, or if there is an understanding between now President Rodriguez and this administration, why would they want a new election?
Do you think that
they being the United States?
So I assume, based on what you read on reporting, you think there's a deal in place between.
I don't know if it's a deal so much as an understanding.
I think it's absolute BS, to be honest. And you think the citizens of Venezuela are just going to, let's have the next person who's just like the last guy.
I mean, they had a democratic election before, and that didn't matter. So
it was a farce election.
That's what I'm saying. That's why that's the quote. Sorry, I forgot this is an audio medium for a second.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like the expectation that they would accept it is insofar that they've had to accept. I mean, they haven't had to, but they've been getting people who have spoken out against the government have been getting arrested, and like there's been a lot of pressure and violence towards people who are obviously dissidents of the current government, but it hasn't necessarily made a difference. And so
revolutions are hard, as we know.
I know, but just because she would stay in power doesn't mean that there would be people would be happy about it, but I'm not sure anything more than they've been doing could be done.
My point with her, Rodriguez, is nothing really changes. You just have a different person.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah. That's what, it's a reshuffle.
It's essentially a waste of time, other than some sort of personal vindication by the president that we got our guy, and then you can parade him around like they did yesterday. Look, Maduro's a bad dude. There's no question about that. So I think we should all celebrate the fact that he's not running that country. But if the next woman up, in this case, is just as bad, what was the point of this? Thankfully, no U.S. men and women lost their lives in this action, which is pretty remarkable.
But some Venezuelans did.
Sure, yeah. Revolution or these kinds of actions are dangerous. This idea that we're going to...
Well, no, I mean, that's not about the revolution. I mean, because we bombed. Like, we had firepower in there. Like, people did die. Right now, it wasn't just a clean capture.
I don't understand what argument you're making about Venezuela. I don't understand what it is. What are you saying about Venezuela in the future?
Saying that I'm saying it is very cloudy of what is going to happen because we don't know what her intentions are. We don't know what, like, as I showed you this morning, in her inauguration, she was, like, hugging the ambassadors to China and Russia. And so as far as the understanding of what we have done and her cooperation with us seems completely unknown. That is my argument.
I'm in complete agreement, but it's also chaotic, and it demonstrates the lack...
I don't think we're disagreeing.
No, I don't think so. It's just we're saying it in different ways, but we're saying the same thing, that none of this is, like, clear. But revolutions are ugly if this is a revolution.
But I don't think... What makes you think it's a revolution?
Because that's clearly... what in our interest would make the most sense. If we had a democratic Venezuela, we would love that as a country. But this administration has not done the work to at least put a mechanism in place to see that that's a possibility. None of that's been done. So right now it's all basically journalists talking about what they think is going to happen there. We have no idea. There's shots being fired every day. Dissidents may be killed for all we know. Opposition leaders could be in prison or dead. It's a mess because it's a superficial action when there's nothing behind the seizing of Maduro, doing whatever you're going to do with him. There's nothing behind it. And we'll talk about it in the next segment. Another example of that, this idea that because Stephen Miller's wife puts a post out, we're going to take Greenland from Denmark? How does this even make sense?
A NATO ally?
That's my frustration.
Welcome back.
On a Tuesday. Good to be back. Quick break. Hey, business owners thinking about selling your business but not sure where to start? WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi here. Join me for an Annex Wealth Management webinar on January 20th at 1 p.m., where I'll be joined by Anthony Malachnik and Brian Lambord. Experts will be answering your biggest questions. Who to consult, when the timing may be right to sell. Register now for this free webinar on Tuesday, January 20th at 1 p.m. Tuesday, January 20th at 1 p.m. Visit annexwealth.com. Always a great place to start. Click the events tab to save your spots.
We see you out there being an original, which is why you shop at Blaine's Farm and Fleet, because you know we have everything you want and need at prices that give you the most for your money. Now that we're past the holidays, it's time to gift yourself 2 packs of queen-size pillows, just $9.99. Shop Blaine's Farm and Fleet automotive or power sport batteries, and Blaine's brand cat litter pails, $14.99. Rewards members save an extra $1. Find the value you need to do things your way. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Be an original.
This time, that station won't make your ad. Next time, another station will come up with it. If there's one thing your small budget needs, it's consistency with your message and your media buy. It's easy to buy the flavor of the month. It's difficult to trust a plan because you'd probably be experimenting. Our plans have been proven to work. We'll get you the lowest rates, give you a consistent message that sets your business apart, and then we'll build you efficient, top-of-mind awareness. Anderson-Smith.com. We help small business advertisers get better results. We'll make your ads potent, memorable, and effective. Whether it's radio, TV, billboards, or digital, our understanding of the market and long-standing relationships are unmatched. Anderson Smith represents a substantial amount of advertising billing, which will benefit you in getting much more for your ad dollar. Our compensation model is designed to make it affordable for businesses like yours to use us. And we hold on to our clients because what we do works, and they trust us. Anderson-Smith.com. We help small business advertisers get better results.
St. Anne's Center for Intergenerational Care switched from a previous vendor to business technology from James Imaging Systems. Why? CFO Sally Parente.
The service, the value, and the ease with which we can just keep using their service and not having any big headaches. It's not just all about the money. We're getting value here as well.
Robert Prang, CIO at Tri-City National Bank, likes the fact that James Imaging is local.
So being able to work with a local company like James that has that flexibility with their staff and being able to deliver for us has given us the ability to make the right decisions for our organization.
And Junior Achievement of Wisconsin VP of Enterprise Services, Lori Salzman, had this advice for others.
If anybody is looking for a good partner that is there to help find solutions, call James Imaging.
James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. Visit jamesimaging.com.
Mineshaft restaurant gift cards make perfect year-round gifts as everyone loves a free meal. Through January 15th, buy a $100 gift card, get a $20 gift card free. Order online at mineshaft.restaurant.com. Big food, big fun. It's the Mineshaft.
Congrats to Jim, who won our boat show tickets. We'll be doing that every day this week, so stay tuned. We're going to mix around the time. It's not going to be the same time, so I might make you wait to the 11:40 break or whatever. Greenland.
Not Iceland.
Not Iceland.
No, what is the line from Mighty Ducks? You remember that movie?
I remember the movie.
It's something that it's Iceland is full of ice and Iceland is very nice or something like that.
Yeah, it's swapped.
It's a
misnomer, yeah.
Because Iceland's
It's the
actually
opposite.
further south than Greenland,
Greenland's
and smaller.
covered with ice.
But yes, Stephen Miller.
His podcaster wife.
And his
started all of
podcaster
this.
wife has insisted that Greenland should belong to the United States.
As has the president.
And said no one would oppose the U.S. militarily should it stake a claim to the self-ruling land. So he was on Jake Tapper's show yesterday, and
the lead.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to play it.
Give me examples of how she wasn't able to adjust.
Apologizing.
So,
and
for example,
when Trump
is in this show focused on Venezuela.
I think I have something else playing at the same time. Hold on, let me fix it. All right. Oh, you know, I had the daily up. That's why. Let me start over.
This whole period that happened after World War II, where the West began apologizing and groveling and begging
I don't even
and
know,
engaging these
honestly,
vast
what you're talking
reparation
about right
schemes.
now.
You love doing that smarmy thing, Jake, and I was hoping to be better than that this time.
I asked you if there would be an
exactly
election in Venezuela. That's what I asked. I said, why was the president so quick to dismiss Machado? You answered that question. And then I said,
the objective, Jake, is security and stability for the people of Venezuela. Venezuelans
but the
will
woman
be richer
running Venezuela
and
right
safer
now is
and
part
more
of the
secure
Maduro
and
regime.
better off. There will be conversations, Jake, about all of these guideposts along the way. This neoliberal frame that the United States' job is to go around the world and demanding immediate elections be held everywhere, immediately, all the time, right away. To create these vacuums.
That's not what I think, but you invaded the country. We went into the country and we seized the leader of Venezuela.
Damn straight we did.
And I'm
because
saying,
we're not going to let.
so is the U.S. going to have new elections?
Jake, is that we're not going to let Tim Pot communist dictators send rapists into our country, send drugs into our country, send weapons into our country.
Okay.
So that was more, obviously that one part was more about Venezuela, but in the same interview, there was also a conversation around Greenland because earlier in that day, I think it was a Sunday or Monday that his Stephen Miller's wife had posted on X a picture country of Greenland with a U.S. flag over it. And as you can imagine, while this was a headline in the United States, it was very big news in Denmark. So much so that a friend of mine who is friends with a guy who is a past member of the Danish Parliament, former Minister of the Finance and Minister of Foreign Affairs, so basically the equivalent of our U.S. Secretary of Treasury and Secretary of State. My friend who's friends with this guy, forwarded me a letter basically trying to appeal to Americans to understand that both the Danish government and the Greenlandic self-government have repeatedly rejected any interest in Greenland becoming part of the United States. And so, because, it's interesting to me as we talk about all these different things, and I've been trying to see the early polling that's been done. And while it seemed like, especially with the Washington Post poll yesterday, I was looking at, because it was more split on people's approval of Maduro, who is a bad person, being taken out of power, it was way more obvious that people were not interested in us occupying another country again. And so I can't imagine, I mean, I don't know how many, besides people who are just Trump loyalists, are Americans really clamoring to go take over Greenland?
I gave zero thought to Greenland until the president started talking about it. So
I gave zero thought to Greenland besides the Mighty Ducks quote.
There's 57,000 residents in Greenland. That's it. That's like a suburb of Milwaukee, big suburb. We have one Air Force base. Again, it would probably be possible to take over Greenland. How does that play in the world theater to our allies, to Denmark, to NATO?
Not well.
I understand that there's people in my party that hate NATO for some reason. I'm not one of those people. Allies are important in a dangerous world, and we seem to be in this sort of mindset, Stephen Miller included, to just piss off people that have been our friends and allies for generations. What is the end game of that? We'll have no allies left in the world, except the ones we don't want to have, like Russia. I don't understand the game plan here. Sure, we could probably go in just with our base that we have there, and it's, what's the name of the town? It's Patufic Space Base now. Only operational. Yeah, we could probably send a bunch of people in and conquer Greenland. All right, then what are we going to do with it? We're going to put up walls around Greenland so that NATO troops can't come in and take it. Look, does this make sense to you?
No.
I guess I'm at the point now where I'm not seeing like logic being played out in any of these things, whether it's Venezuela. And then going back to the Stephen Miller thing, which we played about our last conversation, he's a lunatic. He's an advisor to the president. He's dangerous, which is two words you don't want to combine, dangerous lunatic. This is why I'm concerned that the absurdity of politics is just ruining intelligent debate, because this is the nonsense we get now. That's consuming all the oxygen in the world. Stephen Miller going on to lead Jake Tapper, and finally Jake Tapper, who he's done. He just cut him off. Mm-hmm. It's like that's the debate now. And we could link in CBS just basically saying, whatever the Trump administration says, that's what we're going to do on all of our shows now. Really?
Well, it wasn't all of them. Face the Nation was pretty good this weekend.
All right, well, here's to Margaret Brennan. Hopefully she carries the banner. We got to get smarter, because this is stupidity at its highest level, playing on an international world and an international stadium. And it's very frustrating to me. Quick break.
Education changes everything. It opens doors, shapes futures, and builds the foundation for our children's success. At City Forward Collective, we're working to transform our city's schools and ensure every Milwaukee child receives the high-quality education they deserve. We've taken real steps forward, but our work is far from done. This giving season, we're asking you to join us. Together, we can secure a stronger future for our children and a stronger future for Milwaukee. To support our mission, visit cityforwardcollective.org/donate. That's cityforwardcollective.org/donate.
Hey, the Milwaukee Weight Loss Program, by the way, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi, has been able to change thousands of lives just like mine, lost 45 pounds in 2025, but it's a new year. Another 20 on my palate for this year, and it's because of their incredible metabolic reset program. Changes, resets your metabolism. It's the secret, by the way, to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day with no exercising, no prepackaged pills. I walk, which is always good advice. No counting points or calories, none of the shots, none of the injections. Just hard work that you do with the great team at Milwaukee Weight Loss. Our great coaches, they're outstanding. Many patients, 20 to 30 pound weight loss in a month or two. I did it.
Pearl Kindness phone booths traveling the U.S. is getting.
I do it. You can do it. 262-449-1180. That's 262-449-1180. MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com.
She's been putting off knee surgery for years, and she had a trip coming up to Ireland. And she knew she was going to be walking a lot more than she had become accustomed to. So she finally took a chance and called for an appointment. And it ended up helping her. She was able to do the walking and sightseeing pain-free. It led to an enjoyable trip, and I think we're going to be able to help her live a better life going forward. One that won't let pain stand in her way any longer. This is Rejuvenex founder Richard Salinas, and these are the kind of real-life stories I love to hear. Pain can take so much away from us, and when we can alleviate that kind of pain, it makes our purpose here at Rejuvenex that much more fulfilling. Don't let pain stand in your way any longer. Every day is precious. Take that next step. Schedule your appointment at Rejuvenex and start living your life again.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Take a look at our Google reviews to learn more.
Shop the January New Year's sale on better quality furniture and mattresses at Ken Michaels Furniture.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Coming up, we got a great interview.
He's actually been on the show before, Dr. Ryan Martin. He was talking about rage bait last time we had him on. But today, his new book is out, 50 Emotion Hacks, 50 Ways to Feel Better Fast. So we'll talk to him about that. Maybe he will give you some tips if you need to regulate some of your emotions. Steve, do you need to regulate some of your emotions?
He'll probably tell me to calm down when he joins us on the phone.
So that's coming up next after the top of the hour news.
Welcome to The Knowledge Brokers, a weekly feature covering the dynamics of the insurance market and how it affects Wisconsin businesses and residents. It's sponsored by the original Knowledge Broker, R&R Insurance. Joining us today, Jeff Salazinski, Executive Vice President of Insurance Operations. Jeff, the insurance industry dynamic as ever. You got broker mergers, broker lawsuits, and plenty of change out there as well. So let me rapid fire some questions at you and get your thoughts.
Great, Vince. Let's do it again.
So I read a headline recently that 2025 was the year of the big broker merger. What's going on?
The previous 5 years were dictated by smaller agency mergers. 2025 was the year the big national firms went into acquisition mode, closing some of the biggest deals on record.
So what was driving all this big broker activity?
The publicly traded firms need to show growth, so they bought it. They bought growth. And many in the private equity space needed an exit strategy, a liquidity event, so they sold out and brought in the next ownership group, who, of course, will eventually sell it as well.
So, Jeff, how does R&R take a look at all this broker merger activity?
Candidly, Vince, for R&R, it's good for our business. While our competitors are working internally on integration tasks, new systems, new leaders, new culture, new branding, we're out in the marketplace talking to buyers about 50 years of success, certainty, in managing risk in a complex market.
So good for your business.
Yes, Vince. The R&R business model is unique today. Stability and certainty in the risk management business is critical. M&A always brings a ton of change, much of it directed at the shareholders, not the clients. R&R represents 50 years of disciplined investment in the business and our employees, and always being there for our clients.
So why should a business work with R&R Insurance?
If your audience is looking for a better insurance purchasing experience, we'd love to speak with you. At R&R Insurance, we know business insurance.
That's Jeff from R&R Insurance. Thanks for the great info, Jeff.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer, providing equal employment, development, and advancement opportunities to all teammates and applicants. To learn more about careers with us, please send an email to talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com. That's talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
Trusted, relevant, locally owned, locally programmed. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ Milwaukee.
At 11 o'clock, it's 38 degrees. Rain showers continuing throughout the day, and we'll see a high near 40. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Neil Doyle. President Trump touting the operation in Venezuela over the weekend to capture Nicolas Maduro and his wife. The president talking about the operation today at the House Republican retreat at the Kennedy Center.
But the United States proved once again that
We have the most powerful, most lethal, most sophisticated, and most fearsome. It's a fearsome military on planet Earth.
Maduro appeared in a New York federal courtroom yesterday where he pled not guilty to federal drug trafficking charges. Today, marking 5 years since the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol, CBS News Justice correspondent Scott McFarland says there is some controversy over a plaque to commemorate the event.
The January 6th plaque, which was ordered under law to be hung by March 2023 to honor the police heroes of that day, has not been hung nearly 3 years later. And the House Speaker told CBS News last night in his first statement about this plaque in 2 years that it needs to be reconsidered. It will not be hung. He doesn't believe it is a lawful plaque under statute and needs to be redrawn or redesigned.
Back here in Wisconsin, a principal at a school in Ozaukee County charged with failing to report child sex crimes.
Michael Henning is now on administrative leave from Christ Alone Lutheran School. According to our news partners at TMJ4, prosecutors allege Henning knew about inappropriate touching by a teacher at the school in 2023, a year before it was reported to authorities. That former teacher and athletic director, Daniel Rick, is awaiting trial next month on charges of child enticement and exposing intimate areas to a minor. Henning's first court appearance is set for January 20th. Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
The CDC says flu cases at their highest levels in the U.S. in over 2 decades. Dr. Martin Topile is with Virtua Health.
So the one thing we really need to do is, around other people, wash our hands, cover our cough, and make sure we're wearing masks when we're in crowded areas.
Here in Wisconsin, the Department of Health Services says flu activity is rated as very high. The commissioner of NASCAR announcing his resignation earlier today.
Steve Phelps' days as commissioner appeared numbered after inflammatory texts of his were revealed during an antitrust trial brought by 2 race teams. In the text, he called Hall of Fame team owner Richard Childress a stupid redneck who needs to be taken out back and flogged. Phelps apologized to Childress and tried to move beyond the controversy and the trial last month.
I'm trying my hardest, both a fan as well as the commissioner of this sport that I've loved since I was 5 years old.
Phelps will step down at the end of the month. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Some U.S. speed skaters now turning their attention to the Winter Games, the Olympic trials wrapping up yesterday at the Pettit National Ice Center.
Chicago native and Milwaukee-based skater Sarah Warren punched her ticket to Milan, becoming a first-time Olympian in front of a crowd she's familiar with.
This is what we live for. Like, Milwaukee comes out, and when you hear the crowd and you hear like how excited everyone is, it's unbelievable.
Warren tells WTMJ the feeling doesn't seem real.
It was awesome, and to be able to, like I said, share that moment, you can't describe it, and to be able to share it with everyone in the stands and they get to see dreams come true, so cool.
First-time Olympian Sarah Warren will now head to Milan, Italy to represent Team USA. Nizer Spencer, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything in the green. The Dow up 0.5% at 49,250. The Nasdaq up 24 points at 23,420. And the S&P 500 is up about 16 at 6,918. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:04.
Hi, this is John Neal, CPA, best-selling author and founder of the Neal Group. Well, here we are. It's 2026. Remember last year when you said never again? Did it work? You didn't start your business to spend so much time doing bank reconciliations, cash flow projections, or inventory analysis. Let us help you keep your New Year resolution to stay on top of your finances and keep your books up to date. Don't do the same thing this year and expect different results. Start the year off on the right foot by calling the Neal Group to help you understand your numbers and make them better. You earned it. We help you keep it. Call 414-325-2040 now to set up a meeting to see how you can make 2026 the best year ever. The first meeting is free. That's 414-325-2040, or visit us at nealgroup.net. That's NEAL group.net.
Who doesn't need a seasonal wardrobe update? But who has the cash to always keep their wardrobe updated? Ladies, that's why you shop St. Vincent de Paul. Our women's clothing is always a highlight of our stores, and thrift store prices keep the costs low. It allows you to experiment and also find a hidden gem. St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
No matter how many people are in your family, buying new jackets for the cold weather months can be expensive. But when you shop St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, prices on cold weather jackets will give you a sigh of relief because thrift store prices mean great deals. And right now we have a great selection. Find great deals on cold weather jackets for the family at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. Sports desk. Preparations underway for playoff football and the postseason presenting a bit of a fresh start for the Green Bay Packers after closing out the regular season with 4 straight losses. Packers, the number 7 seed, as they'll be heading to Chicago Saturday night to take on the Bears. Men's college hoops, a big second-half comeback, falling short for UW Milwaukee. Panthers losing to Green Bay 79-76. Wisconsin looking for its second win in Big Ten play. They'll be hosting UCLA tonight. That's an 8 o'clock tip at the Kohl Center. Badger Sports Updates are sponsored by Siding Unlimited, siding, and a whole lot more. Let's take a look at the roads. Your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. That issue we had on 894 near the Hale interchange, that is cleared up, so no delays there anymore. And the rest of the system, you're moving along just fine. We'll see rain showers continue throughout the day. Cloudy skies, a high getting up around 40 degrees. Rain should taper off by tonight. We could see some patchy fog and a low down to 29. Sunny and mild on Wednesday with a high near 41. Cloudy and possibly some rain Thursday, but still mild with highs in the mid-40s. Right now, 36 degrees in Madison. It's 38 in Kenosha and 39 degrees in Milwaukee. I'm Neil Doyle, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
Welcome back to the 11 o'clock hour. We are very excited to have a returning guest, Dr. Ryan Martin, a.k.a. the Anger Professor, not because he is angry, but because he studies anger and other emotional wellness and anger management. He is the Dean of the College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences at University of Wisconsin-Green Bay, and he is the author of 3 books, the third of which comes out today, Emotion Hacks, 50 Ways to Feel Better Fast. Welcome back, Dr. Martin.
Hey. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Happy to be back.
Absolutely. So I was lucky enough to get an early copy. I have started it. I guess my first question out of the gate, do you, like, if someone's going to find this in a bookstore, do they find it under the self-help category in the bookstore or in, like, science and psychology?
Great question. Because it belongs in both.
Okay.
I think in a lot of different ways. I would probably, I suspect most places will include it in the self-help section.
Okay.
But what I like about your question is this is smart self-help.
It is smart. It is science. It is psychology. So far I'm in the very early point because I guess I've never really asked the question of like what are emotions? And what was interesting from the get-go, you said there's some people who actually, some scientists, who don't even subscribe to the idea that emotions are actually a real thing or have a real definition.
Yes. Yeah. So, the definition of emotion is not necessarily something psychologists are agreed upon. And in fact, there's even one school of thought that argue that they don't exist, or even if they do exist, they're not something we should study because they're not observable. So, no, I'm obviously not from that school of thought. The definition that I use is that they're the psychological states that include physiological activation, so the heart rate increase, the muscle tension. They include types of thoughts we have depending on the emotional experience, And then they include some behaviors, some ways that we either act or want to act when we're feeling afraid or angry or sad or whatever.
And this is Steve. Is the timeline of sort of understanding our emotions and probably more importantly our actions based on our emotions, is that changing? Are we more? I guess for me, are we more angry? Should we try to find ways to calm that anger? Is some anger good? I know there's a lot to that question, but where are we at in this timeline?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what I want for people is not necessarily to feel emotions less often or anything like that. What I want for people is to understand the role they play in their lives and to be able to channel them into productive action. And so when I say understand the role they play in our lives, I mean our emotions. They're information centers, right? They give us information about our situation and our surroundings and what's going on. And so if I feel afraid, it means that I am perceiving a threat someplace around me. If I feel angry, it means I am perceiving injustice. And so the next step then is for me to figure out, so is that perception rooted in something real? Is there a real threat or a real injustice? And if so, what do I do about it? How do I respond to that?
Can you manage other people's emotions through your behavior or your actions?
Absolutely, in a lot of different ways. That's a really good question, by the way. I'm really glad you asked that. Because one is we sometimes don't realize we're doing this, but emotions are contagious, that we pick up on the feelings of those people around us, and we emote in a way that is similar to them. And so if I'm surrounded by people who are scared, I pick up on that, particularly if those people are people that I respect and have a relationship with. I think about caregivers or parents as a good example of that. I pick up on that, and then I start to experience that myself. I realize, yikes, mom is scared or my friend is scared. There's probably something I should be scared of. But then there's also the tendency we can be much more intentional about this as well. And because the way to help another person relax tends not to be to tell them, hey, relax.
Especially your wife.
That doesn't usually.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Or husband.
That doesn't really get us where we want to go. But some things that do are speaking more calmly as you start talking to them, taking some pauses, taking some deep breaths yourself, like sort of modeling that behavior for them in the moment can be a way of helping manage the emotions of other people.
So one of my favorite parenting, it's not a hack, but it's basically like how something to instill in your kids is all emotions are welcome, all behavior is not. And so basically saying like you can feel your feelings, but how we act on those feelings is something that we can manage. Is that basically part of what, is that the kind of the thesis of this book is like control what you can control, but your emotions you can't really control?
Yeah, I think that's most of that is stuff that I absolutely agree with. I think one of the things that I do really encourage people to think about, and this is, I'm going to be honest, is a sort of an unpopular, but I still think accurate take of mine, which is, not all of our emotions are reasonable or healthy or valid. And sometimes we feel things that are rooted in nonsense, right? Sometimes we feel things that are rooted in a misunderstanding of what's going on. Part of our job as human beings is to pay attention to what we're feeling and ask ourselves whether or not that feeling is warranted. And if it isn't, we got to do something about it. And if it is, we've got to do something different about it.
I don't know how.
Let's take a break because I actually want to dig in on that a little bit of like what do you do when you find out when you come to the conclusion that it's not warranted, but you still feel that way. So we're talking to Dr. Ryan Martin, who his new book is called Emotion Hacks, 50 Ways to Feel Better Fast. It is out today, and we'll continue the conversation with him after this.
Is it time to buy an engagement ring?
Or a big anniversary diamond?
Kessler's has diamonds that come from diamond mines.
And we also have diamonds that come from plasma chambers.
When you see the size of the diamond you can afford when you look at our high-tech newborn created diamonds,
You're going to be happy, happy, happy.
and with approved credit, our financing plans make anything possible.
Our selection of engagement rings is beyond compare.
And our custom design department can modify any ring in any way you choose.
Anyone who says they can give you a better ring
Or a better diamond.
Or a better price
has never been to Kessler's.
And our miraculous no small print warranty says,
If you bought it at Kessler's, it's guaranteed.
It's just that simple.
And all maintenance is free forever.
No charge.
yes, it really is that miraculous.
You found a partner you want to share your life with.
When you're ready to celebrate,
we've got a diamond for that.
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
Kick off the new year with a smarter home and bigger savings with Exterior Pros and Baths. New windows to lock in the warmth, durable roofing, eye-catching siding, or a stunning bath makeover. Start the year off right and get $3,000 off your project. That's right, $3,000 back in your pocket during our New Year savings event. Call 262-800-4274 or visit extpros.com today. This deal won't last all winter. Exterior Pros and Baths. New year, new home, done right.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi. Have you listened to WTMJ Outdoors yet? Well, what are you waiting for? Every Saturday at 2 right here on 620 WTMJ, we celebrate the best of Wisconsin outdoors, from hunting to fishing, rock climbing, ATVs. This week, the final numbers are in on the Wisconsin deer hunts, gun, bow. How'd we do? Successful hunts in the woods of Wisconsin. We'll discuss that. And look ahead to the Milwaukee Boat Show coming up, State Fair Park.
It's WTMJ Outdoors, presented by Outdoor Living Unlimited.
Welcome back to Point Taken. I'm Kristin. He's Steve. We're talking to Dr. Ryan Martin, author of the new book, Emotion Hacks, 50 Ways to Feel Better Fast, and previous books being How to Deal with Angry People and Why We Get Mad. And so we ended the previous segment on you saying having the awareness of knowing when your feelings aren't warranted. How much therapy does it get to have that much self-awareness? Because people are not, I feel like that's the big step of people feeling very justified in their feelings.
Yeah, I very much agree with you. And I actually think this is a sort of a dangerous part of the rhetoric right now around emotional wellness, is the claim that all feelings are valid or all feelings are reasonable. And I say this as a person who's, I can feel your listeners right now getting upset with me as I share that take. I say this, I want people to understand I'm a deeply sensitive, understanding person when it comes to this. But I want to be really careful about this because this idea that all emotions are valid, leads to potentially harmful acts. It leads to manipulation. It leads to what we call therapy speak. Look, another unpopular take from me, but we are the 5th year anniversary right now of an insurrection that was rooted in, I would argue, unwarranted anger. And so, to get to your question, how do people, how do we help people identify what emotions are warranted and what ones are not? It requires a level of insight that I do acknowledge that a lot of people just aren't capable of. Sorry, go ahead.
Let me go back to what I was asking about before. The management of the relationship, other people's emotions, their actions, their behaviors. And you can use the political side of things if you'd like to. And you mentioned January 6th, the anniversary. What is the proper, because you talk about, ways to sort of help this conversation, right? Benefit ourselves in these relationships. On the political side of things, what is a next step when you have this sort of wall between both sides, if you want to call it a wall or whatever term you want to use? Mm-hmm. And then how do you, from your perspective, professional perspective, effectively manage that? Even from a radio perspective, how am I supposed to manage that?
Do you mean for yourself or manage other people?
Me managing that conversation, because it all starts with a conversation. Whatever they say, however they feel, I'm interacting with them. So we have to manage that conversation somehow. And I guess that's my area of non-expertise. I need help on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that I would want people to say, if I'm receiving information, I think, and that information is making me feel a particular way, scared, angry, sad, whatever. I think one of the questions that people need to ask themselves is, are there reasons why a person might want me to feel whatever they're making me feel right now? And, that we live in a world where we've incentivized, making people angry. We've incentivized making people scared for political purposes. But not just that. We know, there's research that says, most popular word in the world this year is rage baiting. Mm-hmm. And that comes from a place of, we know that information is far more likely to go viral if it is anger-inducing or at least emotional arousal-inducing. So emotional material is more likely to be clicked on and shared. So we've incentivized making people angry. We've incentivized making people scared. And I think that this is the part of where there's some personal responsibility. If you're feeling that way because of some information you've taken in, I think you've got to ask yourself, is that information accurate? Am I essentially being manipulated by someone?
Also, is it useful? Is this adding to my life?
Right.
All right. So like I said, the other two books are How to Deal with Angry People and Why We Get Mad. So how does this one differ from the other two you've already written? Obviously, they're all about emotions. But as far as who's the target audience for each one?
Yeah. So this one's quite a bit different from the previous two. The goal here is really to help people take more control over their emotional life. And I think about it in two ways. One is I'm offering people a whole bunch of these strategies rooted in science that are about how to deal with emotions, not just in the moment, but how to sort of prepare for them. So ways that you can take care of yourself that will, I equate it to a seatbelt, right? When the road gets rough, if you've taken care of yourself, you're essentially wearing a little emotional seatbelt that helps you navigate those rough times in a healthier way. So things like stay hydrated, exercise, eat well, spend time in nature, engage in the arts, all of those things, we see demonstrable benefits, emotional benefits from doing those things. But it's also a list of things you can do when you are angry, when you are scared, when you are sad. How can you navigate that in a healthy way?
What's the goal? Because the goal is obviously not to feel emotion, but like when you talk about like an ideal state of if you use these 50 hacks, like what is the outcome?
Yeah, I think the goal for me isn't necessarily not to feel emotion. It's to feel what you want to feel in a given circumstance. And, I think for a lot of people that's happy, but honestly, not always. I talk to athletes all the time who tell me I perform best when I'm a little bit angry. I talk to, we know there's all this research that says a little bit of anxiety is what helps you perform best on exams and things like that. So if you're able to put yourself in those states, if you're able to find the emotional motivation to get yourself to work out or to eat better or whatever it is, if you can find that emotional motivation on your own without someone else needing to provide it to you, you're going to be better off.
So if I tell a texter that's commenting, maybe you should check out an anger management class, that's not positive reinforcement for the text.
Right.
We'll just send him the book. We'll just send him emotion hacks.
Send him the book, yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations on the release. I'm very excited for you. I am enjoying it so far. But Dr. Ryan Martin, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great.
Soon to be guest on the podcast, too.
Yeah.
I just got to schedule it up.
Steve's got to follow up with you to be on Scaffidi.
That's going to be a good one because we're gonna get
into it.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to self-analyze you.
He's going to be busy.
I can't wait.
Yeah, he can't wait to get into that brain.
He's ready to go.
All right. Thanks so much. Again, the book is Emotion Hacks, 50 Ways to Feel Better by Dr. Ryan Martin. We'll be back with more after this.
WTMJ's John Mercure here. I love my dogs, Bella and Baxter, an important part of our family. They're kind of like kids sometimes, and like kids, they weren't always listening, but I've got it figured out now. Thanks to Matt and his teams at Sit Means Sit Dog Training, our dogs are better behaved. They don't bark as much. They just listen better. They're happy, confident, obedient. Our house is a better house. Sit Means Sit Dog Training turned it around for us. Let them do the same for you. You can start with a free consultation. The website is sitmeanssitwaukesha.com. Sitmeanssitwaukesha.com.
Ever wonder what it takes to feel truly wealthy and financially comfortable? Schwab asked Americans that question, and most said at least $2 million. But here's the thing, your number might be different. And that makes sense because your dreams, travel, retirement, and the legacy you want to leave are unique to you. That's why you need advice that's just as personal. The team at Annex Wealth Management is ready to listen and help you build a plan that fits your life. Click the Get Started button at annexwealth.com.
The 6th annual Hales Corners Hometown Boat Show is on now at MW Marine. Check out the newest fishing boats from Lund, Vexus, and Ranger, all powered by Mercury Outboards. Grab a gorgeous 2026 model or save big on remaining 2025 Mercury-powered boats with substantial rebates. Demand is high, so get to MW Marine today. Free parking and free admission. Don't miss the Hometown Boat Show at MW Marine, MWMarine.com.
My husband's an animal in bed.
Well, you know.
Not in the fun way. Think warthog. With a chainsaw.
Snoring and sleep apnea affect over 90 million people, and 1 out of 4 couples sleep in separate rooms. Advent can help. We've been Milwaukee's one-stop solution for nasal congestion, snoring, and sleep apnea for over 20 years. Unlike many other practices, we focus exclusively on these conditions, so you get comprehensive care under one roof. Advent's unique approach can help you breathe and sleep better, and many avoid a CPAP. Plus, most insurance is accepted for our effective 20-minute in-office treatments.
Hey, the only animal you want in your bed is your dog.
Advent. Sleep better. Sleep together. Learn how you can improve your life at adventknows.com.
The only place to get this.
Lobs up top to Giannis, who stuffs it down. The Bucks back ahead by 1.
With some of this.
But at some point, you need to find that consistency. And maybe we look back at this game against the Charlotte Hornets, the way the Bucks won, and say, hey, this is where this group started to find their footing.
Get it all on Bucks Talk, your all-encompassing Milwaukee Bucks postgame show. Only heard here on the home of the Bucks, WTMJ.
Welcome back to Point Taken. I'm Kristin. He is Steve. Thanks again to Dr. Ryan Martin for telling us a little bit more about how we can hack our emotions. It reminded me, so like I said, I sometimes I think for toddlers and for children, I still abide by the all emotions are welcome, but all behavior is not. As far as you can feel your feelings because they're learning to regulate their feelings, but we're not going to hit. We're not going to.
But that's good advice.
You know what I mean? And so, but one of the biggest piece of, you know how you go through different corporate jobs and they have like professional training and career training and stuff. Yes. My first job out of school, the best piece of life advice, not just career advice, but life advice I got out of one of the professional training outside consultants that they hired to come in and do sessions with all of us is E plus R equals O. So event plus reaction equals outcome. And the only thing you have control over in that equation is your reaction. So an event happens, you have your reaction, and the best you can do to control what the outcome is what your reaction is.
Yeah.
And so often when I am not impulsive and I actually try to think through what is the outcome here that I want, it alters how I react to things that happen to me, or I try to, not always. But then it's also the advice that I give a lot of other people, which feels like akin to what Dr. Martin was talking about.
Yeah, I'm thinking about myself. I don't act out in anger generally. I get passionate about things because, frankly, I'm paid to be passionate about what we talk about. But I'm like I'll go back to what I was just doing this weekend. I was playing blackjack and I had a bad day Sunday. And after particularly bad beats, which happens in blackjack all the time, really, I just got up, kind of walked it off, did something else, and I was cool. I mean, there's people that act like tools in Las Vegas when they lose. They're like yelling at the deal. I would never do that because first of all, it's a hard job. You got to deal with us losing money or sometimes winning money and drunks and everything else. So my strategy is always walk it off or not say something.
But do you feel better by not saying? Are you mean gambling specifically or in life?
In life. Think about it. This is not my unique way of looking at it. Think about what you're going to say before you say it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's easy. But when you're on the radio, it's live. So we don't often have that long ability to, I'm going for it, and that's what happens. All right. Still got a half hour. We got Neil Doyle coming up with news. Here's the latest from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. As Congress convenes for a new year, Republicans and Democrats are mourning the unexpected death of GOP Congressman Doug LaMalfa of California. At the GOP annual retreat today, President Trump honored LaMalfa, who was also a staunch Trump ally and water rights advocate.
And our hearts go out to his wife, Jill, and his entire family. You know, he voted with me 100% of the time.
LaMalfa was 65 years old. His death, along with Marjorie Taylor Greene giving up her seat, shrinks the Republican razor-thin margin for control of the House. President Trump urging his party to win the midterm elections, he says, or he could be impeached if they don't. The president also defended the U.S. military operation in Venezuela to oust Nicolas Maduro and his wife, saying it was necessary. International foes like China and Russia, along with allies like France, have criticized the move, calling it an invasion. Freezing rain and ice storm are targeting parts of the upper plains today, including Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 11:31. I'm Neil Doyle. A teenager in custody for a shooting that happened on Milwaukee's northwest side. The suspect, a 17-year-old boy, was mishandling a gun when authorities say it discharged and struck a 22-year-old. Happened near the intersection of 43rd and Silver Spring Monday afternoon. The victim is being treated at the hospital. Wisconsin leaders pushing to attract more investments from Japan as that country has committed to investing over $500 billion in the U.S. In an effort to try to attract some of that money to the Badger State, the Wisconsin-Japan Strategic Partnership was formed, chaired by former Governor Tommy Thompson. The group's goal is to maximize Wisconsin's chances of attracting investment in categories like advanced manufacturing, critical minerals, and medical products. A meeting will be held later this month to discuss the group's progress. And an author from Wisconsin who produced dozens of books has passed away. Family members say Michael Schumacher died last week. He wrote the biographies of filmmaker Francis Ford Coppola, musician Eric Clapton, and basketball great George Mikan. Though he was born in Kansas, the writer spent most of his adult life in Kenosha. Schumacher was 75 years old. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything in the green. The Dow is up 390 points at 49,360. The NASDAQ is up 88 at 23,484. And the S&P 500 is up about 30 points at 6,930. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Let's take a look at the roads. Your WTMJ time saver traffic. Again, no issues. We had that crash earlier on 894. That has been cleared, so you're moving along there with no issues. We did have a few delays as well. 94 eastbound in part of our construction zone there near the stadium, but those delays have kind of cleared up, so everything moving along very nicely. We'll see rain showers kind of on and off as we move throughout the rest of today. Cloudy skies, a high getting up around 40 degrees. Rain then should taper off completely by tonight. We could see some patchy fog, a low of 29. Sunny and mild conditions on Wednesday with a high of 41. Cloudy, we could see some rain then Thursday, but still mild, highs in the mid-40s. Rain chances continuing into Friday with cloudy skies and a high near 40 degrees. Right now, it's 35 in Sheboygan. It's 40 degrees in Waukesha, and we're sitting at 39 degrees in Milwaukee. I'm Neil Doyle, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:34.
Every year, I make the same resolutions.
What, get rid of your husband?
Don't be silly. No, get organized, and I'm finally keeping it.
Because we're turning that cluttered closet into a custom space that actually works.
More shelves, better hanging.
Space for shoes and sanity.
Start the new year with a closet that makes your mornings easier.
It's one resolution you don't have to do alone. We'll design it with you.
Get started at InspiredClosetsMilwaukee.com.
Inspired Closets.
A wife and husband team.
We see you out there being an original, which is why you shop at Blaine's Farm and Fleet, because you know we have everything you want and need at prices that give you the most for your money. Now that we're past the holidays, it's time to gift yourself assorted winter boots, 25% off. Large jugs of Aero laundry detergent, just $9.99. And select bags of Taste of the Wild grain-free or ancient grain dog food, $3 off. Find the value you need to do things your way. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Be an original.
I'm Dr. Jasmine Zapata, Chief Medical Officer for Community Health at the Wisconsin Department of Health Services. Every year in the U.S., about 21,000 lung cancer deaths are caused by radon, an odorless, tasteless, and colorless gas. 1 in 10 Wisconsin homes has high levels of radon. Does yours? Call 1-888-LOW-RADON or visit lowradon.org to learn more. Test, fix, save a life.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Eggland's Best, the only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste, plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Welcome back to Point Taken. I'm Kristin. He's Steve. We're going to hang up politics for today, although everything's kind of political, so maybe we'll make our way back there. But GLP-1s officially now in pill form.
And the prices are way cheaper than the injections.
Yeah, its price ranges from $149 to $299 per month, depending on the dose, making it much less expensive than the injectables on the market. And, no needles. Were you afraid of needles as a kid?
Yeah, early on, but not anymore. I get blood tests and all that stuff. Yeah, you get used to it. It is sort of a political question, though, because the president has been very vocal about his friends that use these drugs, and he always says, well, they're still fat. He likes to play that game. He never says who these people are generally, but I guess I never understood why this is controversial. I get that some people, some part of our population, doesn't like the idea that some people can lose weight sort of what they think is the easy way, although I would argue it's not, and not have to go work out at a gym or do whatever crazy things they do to be fit. I don't
know if that's
silly.
The override, because I
don't think it's overriding. It's a common thing.
I think the first kind of wave of objections was that people were something that was a drug that was meant for people who have diabetes, and there was a shortage of the drug because people were using it for weight loss. And so I think there was a conversation 2-ish years ago about the fact that people who needed it weren't able to get it. And then as the drug became more popular and people who needed it could get it, people who wanted to have it could have it. And I think the long-term thing is like, what is this? Because it's a newer drug, we have no long-term studies. Is this just a magic pill? But I mean, for anyone who's mad at people who are taking one of these pills and losing weight because they're not doing the hard work, like, get off, like, whatever. Like, get over yourself.
I'll say what you want to say. You're an idiot. Why would you
it's
worry
not about
that?
you. Just like let people live their lives. Because I think there's a lot of people who we have a terrible bias, despite being such a fat country. As a society and a culture, we have a terrible, terrible bias against fat people and how we treat them and the assumptions we make about them and their lives. And there's a lot of people who probably could take better care of themselves. There's a lot of people, like, there's different conditions that you have that make it really hard to lose weight. And I say this as a naturally thin person who only started working out again for the first time in the last 3 years and does not a lot of it is genetics, right? And sometimes
Absolutely.
It is not something that is indicative of how hard you work out or how well you eat, because I would not put myself in either of those categories. And I am lucky enough to still be thin and be rewarded. And I know that I'm rewarded by that in society and how people see me. And so I think it's a good thing. My only concern with this is if there's long-term effects that we are unaware of, that we'll look back in 30 years and be like, oh gosh.
Well, that
always happens, right? That happened with birth control.
Sure. And there were trials for these drugs. It's not like we just, hey, here's a drug, let's take it. And it's not uncommon for drugs to be rolled out for one thing, and then I'll give you a classic example. Viagra was used for something unrelated to what Viagra ended up being.
What was it for?
I think blood pressure control, which...
Oh, interesting.
Someone that works in the medical field, but it was rolled out for something completely different. And then an interesting side effect, boom, then there you go. It's not uncommon. This is why I think this is important. We talk a lot about healthcare and the cost of all the things we have to pay for when it comes to our health and safety. This is a chance. I know it's an investment, but it's a front-end investment to save money long-term.
Mm-hmm.
Because last time I checked, if you're being treated for diabetes or all the other things, high blood pressure or heart issues, all the things that can make you uncomfortable, ill, die earlier than you would typically die, this may be an opportunity to sort of correct that. So again, it's always difficult for people to understand front-end investment versus return on investment, long-term gain. This is a game changer because, one, it actually works so far, what we've seen. I have family members who take these. Has worked fantastic. Lifelong people who are still fit, but also heavy.
Mm-hmm. I said, yeah, you can be very fit and not rail thin.
So they were doing what they were supposed to be doing, according to the experts, the people who like to chastise other people for not doing what they do. But they found an opportunity here, and now they are both fit because they still do all those things, but their BMI, their body weight is more in line of what it should be. And I can tell you almost to a person, what do they always say? Because in my family, we're big on annual physicals for my parents, to us, to our kids. When you go back after you lose the weight, whatever you were doing before, your numbers are right where they need to be. All the blood work that you have, it's generally pegs it right in the green. And that's a benefit of this. So I'm not going to poo-poo this. I think it's a great thing. There's always risk to anything you do. But for me, to make this affordable, and you know what the next big kicker is, will insurance companies at some point, at this price point, make that something that they'll pay for? That's a game. That would be a huge game changer, because that will change people's behavior. They'll take this pill or get that shot. It's an interesting story. After the break, we're going to talk about pizza.
What a pivot.
What a pivot on the Point Taken show right here on 620 WTMJ.
All types of injury lawyers advertise. Cartoon lawyers, bobblehead lawyers, and folks chasing ambulances with text messages. Our clients don't want or need such lawyers. Our clients know, like, and trust that Pasternak and Zergabel will help in their time of need. I'm Frank Pasternak of Pasternak and Zergabel. Jeff Zergabel and I are excellent personal injury lawyers in our community. If you need help after an injury, go to Pasternak and Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com. That's injurywisconsin.com.
At Capri Communities, they believe people of every age deserve to enjoy life.
I recently moved my dad into a Capri community. He has gained such new independence. His falls have decreased, he's eating healthy meals, and going on great new adventures. Knowing Dad is in a great place really gives me the peace of mind I needed. And now, we're both enjoying life again.
Give the care that has your parent enjoying life again at Capri Communities. Get started today at capricommunities.com.
$1 in today's world doesn't go far unless you're spending it at Griffin. Because for just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. Buy one or a whole set. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand. We'll put you in new tires for just $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. That's right, $1 over cost, and we'll even show you the invoice to prove it. So what's the catch? There's really no catch. You don't have to buy a car or a truck from us. We'd like it if you did, but our only requirement is we put them on for you. Buy 1, 2, or a set of 4. The $1 deal at Griffin. Available at Griffin Chrysler Jeep South, 27th Street, and Griffin Ford Waukesha. The $1 deal at Griffin. Make your dollar go further. Griffin, the buck stops here, but the deals on tires don't. $1 over cost. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. Want to tell you about my friends at the Hounds and Tap. It's in Menominee Falls, right off Silver Spring, and it is our go-to place for doggy daycare, boarding, and grooming services for our Greyhound night. Amazing place, amazing people, and designed for dogs. For years, we've trusted the Hounds and Tap with Night's daycare, boarding, and grooming because, well, they're the best. If you're searching for top-tier services and a team you can trust, check out the Hounds and Tap. It's in Menominee Falls. View their services online and get connected at thehoundsandtap.com.
It's Gina Della. You've heard me define what makes Pella Windows and Doors different. Let me introduce you to the woman behind the billboards, commercials, and share my extraordinary journey of resilience, reinvention, and shattering glass ceilings every Saturday morning at 6:30 on 620 WTMJ and anywhere you stream podcasts for What's the Difference with Gina Della to discuss business coaching across all industries, featuring successful executives, entrepreneurs, and mentors along the way. This is a story you won't want to miss.
Prizes, flyaways, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting WTMJ.com/contests. That's WTMJ.com/contests.
What better to talk about after a GLP-1 conversation than pizza? So I saw this morning. I think it was on.
Are you a thick crust or thin crust guy?
It's a great question. Like, if you were to ask me what I would prefer, it would be the thicker crust.
That is what I asked you.
I know, but I'm going to get to the rest of the story here. So I never get that because my wife loves thin crust. So I defer to her.
Good for you.
Yeah, that's why I was laughing or giving you that.
I also like thin crust. I mean, I'll eat any of it, but like a good thin crust pizza, it's crispy.
So, we were just talking about the weight loss drug, GLP-1 in general is the sort of the generic term. But I saw this it was Morning Brew, right? Is that where I saw that this morning? Pizza, the industry, sort of flat.
As a whole.
Yeah.
Like frozen pizzas, pizza places.
It's the fast food pizza.
Pizza Hut.
The Mamma Mia's of the world, the places like the pizzerias, basically.
Pizzerias, so not like the chains.
No, because, pizzas.
I think of like...
you mean a one-of restaurant? Is
Papa John's and Pizza Hut as like fast food chains versus...
I don't know how they determine
like
pizzeria.
San Giorgio.
Yeah, as a one-of or two-of. One-of? Yeah, one-of.
Well, it's one of the only the special oven that they have.
Great pizza, by the way.
Great pizza.
Right next to the Calderon Club, right? I think so, yeah. So pizzerias, I don't know how they defined it, went from being the second most popular type of U.S. chain restaurants in the 90s to sixth last year. In terms of sales. I don't know, cut off my story. Doesn't that surprise you? Because I would have thought pizza would be like still dominant. Pizza. Everybody loves pizza, right?
I don't, yeah. I need more information.
All right, I'm going to get it for you. But just think about that for a second. So if you're thinking about pizzerias in general, we all like I have pizza like once a month, right? Probably once a month. Probably had it more often before I lost weight. How often do you have pizza?
I feel like a good frozen pizza is an option for dinner at our house. Not once a week, let's say twice a month. As far as like we kind of are always a family that grabs a frozen pizza when we go grocery shopping to have it as a reserve when we don't have time to actually cook a meal and just be able to put a frozen pizza in. But as far as ordering pizza
your house.
Ordering pizza to the house, like I'm pretty sure the last time we did it, the last time we did it was Toppers, and it was after the holiday gala.
Toppers?
Yeah, which is very good.
I'm not familiar with that.
You never had Toppers?
No.
It's very
There's
good.
not one by me, I don't think.
It's specifically they're like garlic bread. It's really, it's very good. But that was, I think for me there was also drinking involved in that. And that's why we needed pizza delivered to the house by the time we got home.
Well, as a former bartender for many years in end of my high school era, college, and then as a college graduate in many different forms and functions, worked in disco bars, worked in supper clubs.
Did you dance when you worked at the disco bar?
Did I dance?
Yeah, because you said you're not a big dancer now. Were you ever a dancer?
No. No. What gives you the idea I would be a dancer at some point?
I don't know. You kind of seem like someone who would want to get on the dance floor.
Yeah. Well, I have danced, but that's not my favorite thing to do.
Okay.
I'm more just stand off in the corner, look cool.
Lean back.
You're not buying that.
Lean back.
So I just pulled this up. So McDonald's still very popular, obviously. Subway sandwiches, very popular. All the chains, Subway and Jersey Mike's. What's all the
Jimmy
other?
John's, Cousins.
Chicken, KFCs of the world, and Popeyes, and Taco Bell. Obviously, the whole. So those are all sort of replacing what used to be dominant. Because think about it. Maybe in the 90s, when they took the measure of back then and until now, maybe a lot of these places weren't as big as they are.
That's when they took the reading challenge away. Pizza Hut used to do the reading challenge.
What was that?
If you read 12 books in a summer, you got your personal.
Do you think kids
pan
actually
pizza.
read the books, or they just lied about it? They just wrote the names of the books down?
My girlfriend last summer, who's an avid reader, challenged her girlfriends. She's like, anyone who wanted, and she had a challenge as anyone who read 12 books last summer. She bought them a personal pan pizza from Pizza Hut. It was very cute.
Interesting.
I did not qualify.
We got into a long. This is one of the reasons I put pizza on here, is because we were gambling, and there's lots of time to just chat. We were talking about Tombstone pizzas, and that's what my bartending thing was. That's where I was going before you so smartly interrupted me. See what I did there? The popularity of Tombstone pizzas in bars.
In bars?
Yes. So the great thing about Tombstone pizzas, as a bartender, they'd order a pizza, take that cellophane off, stick it in the pizza oven that usually the Tombstone company gave you. It was done in 10 minutes, ready to go, hotter than burn your roof of your mouth hot. 10 minutes. So you could constantly serve, get the pizza. It was a beautiful, and I think this still goes on in a lot of bars in Wisconsin.
I know some bars that still, they don't have a real kitchen, but they'll have a pizza oven and an air fryer, and so they have limits what they can serve. But pizza's still on the list because of pizza ovens.
And Tombstone, I think it's still Wisconsin's owner. Did Kraft or somebody buy it? So I think some big company bought it, but Medford, Wisconsin.
Huh.
Yeah. Still good, too, by the way. I had a Tombstone pizza not that long ago. At home, still good.
We were a Jack's family.
Jack's Original Pizza. Yeah. Very good. As a former frozen food manager, it was a very popular brand.
Did you ever order Schwann's? Do you remember Schwann's?
That's the dairy, right?
No, it was like a frozen truck that you'd make your order, and then they'd show up with frozen chicken cutlets. And I remember we would always get the ice cream cone. I forgot what.
Where were you doing this at?
This was in Madison.
Madison.
There was my mom was the organizer of the market day.
She was the
market
Schwann's
day.
lady?
Yeah, it was market day, and Schwann, the Schwann's truck would show up. But I remember specifically they had this waffle ice cream cone thing that was drizzled in chocolate. That was my favorite.
It
But
sounds
I remember
delicious.
in the last 2 years, Schwann's went out of business.
All right, this is not.
You have no idea what I'm talking about?
I've heard of them, but I never had one by me. So this has nothing to do with what we typically do on the show, but it's Tuesday, and I feel like doing it. We just talked about GLP-1s, the weight loss drug, and fast food. I want to know, 855-616-1620. If none of that mattered, like weight gain, how you feel after you ate it, all weights, whatever, what would be your go-to item to get from fast food? Right now, if I could just deliver it to you without any technology, boom, it's right there in front of you. What would you order? For me, Big Mac, right now. I haven't had one in years, but I'd eat it in a second.
Chicken tenders?
You were supposed to wait.
Oh.
That's a tease. It was a tease. Now you ruined it.
Now I ruined it. Well, now it's
What'd you say? Chicken tenders?
Yeah, I feel like
God, is that boring?
I know.
We'll get Jazz. Jazz will give us after the break her choice for what you could get immediately from me, the Stever, on the show, fast food. And I want yours.
Tune in to Wisconsin's Midday News with Greg Matzik and Jessica Ty.
A teen from Milwaukee facing multiple felony charges following a hit and run.
Bringing you the latest in news, sports, traffic, and weather.
Remember, a common cold in you might be something serious in somebody else. For a general cold, rest up, stay hydrated, and make sure you're getting the proper nutrients. That's going to do it. That's going to help you get better.
Every weekday from noon until 3 p.m. Only on WTMJ.
Hey, it's WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi for Annex Wealth Management. As the new year, it's here, and tax planning continues. That's always a good strategy. It's a good time to review your financial situation. Markets shift, costs change, your own priorities may evolve. That is where Annex Wealth Management comes in. They take the time to understand you and your full financial picture. With their holistic approach, you can take advantage of a plan that can help you reach your goals for retirement, if that's your story. Discover new investment strategies, have better tax awareness, always important, and create an estate plan as you look ahead, also very, very important. You might be building wealth early in your career, balancing family and financial commitments, or preparing for that life in retirement. No matter the stage, Annex provides the knowledge to help you evaluate your choices and move into the new year with clarity. Annex also helps guide businesses. If you have questions about potential sale, how to start the process, well, join yours truly, Steve Scaffidi, on January 20th for Selling a Business, Where to Start. It's a free webinar. They do so many of these are so awesome, discussing many of the key questions, including who you should consult with, what tasks to prioritize, and when you should make your move. Click the events tab at annexwealth.com to set your reminder. Get a plan, get answers. Visit annexwealth.com. Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Winter would be pretty bleak without my friends at Fleet Farm. They're my one-stop shop for everything ice fishing. My boots, bibs, augers, scoopers, rods, reels. I mean, Fleet Farm's got all the best ice fishing gear. Hook, line, and sinker. And duct tape, too, if you need it. You'll always need it. Take it from me, John Gillespie. Fleet Farm's got everything you need to gear up for a great year on the ice.
Beautiful and safe. Decks built to last by Outdoor Living Unlimited, Wisconsin's #1 TimberTech deck installation team. For amazing ideas, go to our Outdoor Living Unlimited Instagram page. For a free estimate, go to OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Producer Jazz had a great point.
This is your dance move.
Yeah, I don't think so. About the fact that it was a novelty back in the 90s because no one else was delivering all their stuff. Now you can get McDonald's.
Except Chinese. I feel like Chinese delivery was always delivering. Weren't they?
I always thought it was you could have it, Jazz, your favorite fast food thing you'd want right now if I could deliver it to you.
Oh, gosh. Probably Culver's. I don't know.
What from Culver's, though?
Yeah, what item?
Lots of things from Culver's.
Oh, my goodness.
Butterburger?
Honestly, I like their cod. Like their fish and chips. That's pretty good.
All right, it's good answers. I asked and you responded. Jack in the Box, tacos, KFC, chicken bowl with coleslaw, Pizza Hut pan pizza on our pizza theme, turkey on wheat with provolone from Cousins. Cousins make great subs. Culver's, too generic. Got to be more specific. Whoppers. Remember those? Here's a claim to fame. Once after a golf outing, I was very, very drunk. I had 2 Whoppers in about 5 minutes. Yeah. I regretted that.
I want to
decision.
change mine. I think instead of because I just like chicken nuggets and chicken tenders and stuff.
Boring.
But I would say an Oreo McFlurry.
That's pretty good. That's
Pretty
a
good.
one. Yeah.
Pretty good. Or a Frosty from Wendy's.
Real quick shout out. I was at a bar in Vegas celebrating the Packers' loss because it was just it was a stupid game.
Were you celebrating how many bets LaFleur screwed over because they were 14-point favorites, and then everyone.
But if you're in Vegas,
13 and a half favorites.
If you're in Vegas or have a trip planned during a Packers season or game, Rum Runner, very close to the Strip, fantastic. Will knock your socks off. It's a classic Wisconsin bar, including cheese curds. So Rum Runner, Vegas. It's on Tropicana Avenue. Tell them I sent you. News is next.
Before you go looking for an area rug that you'll have to settle for because you think that the one you really want will be out of your budget.